All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday night training. Jesse Macpherson coming at you again. Normally, I'm not doing back-to-back trainings for our TNT nights, for our Tuesday night trainings. However, so last week, I thought we had a great training where we literally talked about, the kind of the process of exposing and sharing with people your business and getting piquing interest and getting a chance to kind of start the process of exposures. And then we talked a little bit about follow-ups, but we also talked about really the importance of transitioning from that first exposure into what we would call third-party confirmation, or otherwise known as a three-way phone call or a three-way chat or a Zoom or a sit-down or something that's bringing them into the fold. And we didn't get a chance to go in depth into that. And so we talked about it last week of doing that training here tonight. So very excited to be able to go through some of the strategies that have helped me enroll hundreds and hundreds of people into this amazing industry. And fortunate to get even just last week, 6 new people personally started just last week. The goal is to get another at least 6 coming in here this week. So because I've got on my board 30 new personals before our launch in Vegas during our pre-launch window. I believe I can knock that out of the park, but I want to share with you some of those strategies that I believe that are going to help you to be able to enroll more people and also to get yourself out of the way and understanding the process to create more replication and duplication. I heard a long time ago in this business, the goal is not to be remarkable, the goal is to be replaceable. I also heard a line that was really important was, in our business, it's more important to do what duplicates, not what works. Many things will work, but few things will duplicate. And a lot of the times what might seem counterintuitive as to how to be successful in our business, where it's some of the ideas where you're winning the battle but losing the war. And I want you to win the war. Now, of course, we're not at war technically, but for some people, it might feel like that, at war for your freedom, at war in your finances. And sometimes it might even feel like you're up against the world, which we understand, which is one of the reasons why being in this culture and community is so important. So that's the introduction here for you before we pop into a little bit of our presentation. So just to kind of get you updated here on a few things, we are 58 days away from Vegas. Oh my gosh, less than 60 days away from our official launch of Viago that's going to be happening here in Vegas. Now, obviously, I'm not in Vegas in the sky. I'm here in Manila in the Philippines. But I can't wait to be with you guys here shortly. Now, a couple different things. We have nearly sold out of our room block at the Rio, which is in the Ipanema Tower, the upgraded tower. We are looking to get some more rooms for Sunday night, which was the night that wasn't available for us because we sold out in our room block. We should have an update for you guys on that on Thursday, so in 2 days from now. If you want to wait on that to get your room block, so we get you set up on that. But this is going to be historic. I know if you're on this, you're probably already there and are registered. If for some reason why someone didn't tell you about Vegas, then you have plans October 25th, 26th to be in Vegas with us at the launch of Viago. We're going to be at our regional training events going over a lot of the updates. I'll give you a few sneak peek items for it. But on our website, teamsynergyagents.com, you have a lot of details. Also, chillinworldwide.com, chillin with no G. Has some great stuff on there as well. We've got a few days left. I know this says 5 days left. I don't think you have that many days left between now and the end of the month. I think you got 4, or technically, oh, I guess I'm in the Philippines. So you got a few more days. It's 27th, 28th, because it's 27th for you to close this out. Now, how you earn this contest is based around enrollments on points. So every person you enroll with a pre-launch pack, you get a point. Right? If someone, an old existing agent that you have direct upgrades to our pre-launch pack, you also get a point for that. But focusing on those new people. Now, obviously, as you can see here, you get into the top 10 and you're crossing the stage at our Elevate convention to be recognized, and having that as a story, a video, a testimonial for you to be a part of the recognition on the lights and everything with Viago is going to be monumental for you. So I would fight to get into the top 10. And for those of you guys that are hungry and going after it, let's get you into that top 5 where you got cash prizes. All right. So we got 200, 400, 750, 1,500, 3,000 for first place. Now, what you also notice is we have a multiplier. If you go get 20 points and get we double the bonus. 30 points, we triple the bonus. So first place, if you get 30 points, is not $3,000, it's $9,000. I know Charles is working on getting there. Eric Grzybowski getting back up there, trying to take #1 spot from a guy in his business. But I know they got some people coming for you in the next 4 or 5 days for sure. So let's get that happen. Coming up before our October event launch is our in-between events, which are our regional training events we have on September 7th. These are our localized events from Atlanta, Bloomington, Akron, Concord, Chicago, DMV, Newark, Oklahoma City, Phoenix, San Antonio, and Tampa. So we want to get you to these marketplaces, and you can register on the website viagoevents.com for this localized training we call RTEs, regional training events. At this event, there's going to be some very big announcements, obviously, heading into our launch, because this will be our last pre-launch event. And we've got surprises for you. So we've got great announcements for you guys that are coming. I don't want to ruin them for you, but they're going to be really big. We want to make sure that we get you guys there because it's going to set you up in September of what to focus on and run for in the month of September into the month of October. Okay. Now, at this event, not only we're going to be releasing a lot of the details of the event happening in Vegas. I'm going to share it with you real quickly so you guys know. On Thursday, we have a 50 squared and above leadership meeting, which is going to go from 12 to 4. We're going to get the calendar out. Thursday night, we're going to have some ridiculous events for even like higher ranks for those that are ready to run for some of that stuff, which is going to be awesome. And then on Friday, we've got a breakout session for maximizing your Viago membership from 10 to 12. This will be in the schedule that will come out. And then we're going to have what we call Friday Fun Day. So from basically 12 on, there's going to be fun activities. We're going to get you some details around that at September 7th. And then on September 7th at night, we're going to have our Inner Circle party. The theme is already prepared. We're very excited about it. You're going to hear about the theme and everything on September 7th. However, I will tell you, get your gown ready, get your suit ready, because we're going to be showing up suited and booted for our Friday night Inner Circle party, which is going to be amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see the theme. Then our convention Saturday and Sunday night, we're going to be continuing the festivity, which was such a hit from last year, as our Neon Nights costume party. So we're going to do costumes and prizes. It is going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing weekend. So we can't wait to see you guys there in Vegas. Now, there is a pre-launch event for Viago in Milan next month, the 21st and 22nd, Saturday and Sunday. I know that Ben and Lauren Bradshaw from the US are coming out there, 250 squared. We've got obviously Muzaffar Nashvi, who is a lead trainer for the course of that weekend. And there's some surprise guests that'll probably be there in Europe, in Milan, before we launch into our official launch in Las Vegas. So a little bit on the calendar here, 58 days. You can register at viagoevents.com. Make sure and get to your local regionals, okay? Oh, here's the agenda I just talked through. Here you go. Now, outside of that, we're going to have our Club Fit workouts. Many people have been asking what's going to happen with Club Fit. All right, in Vegas, we're going to give you some great updates on the future with Club Fit, which is very, very exciting for those that have been waiting. So thank you for being patient. Also, we've got our reward escape trips where you can use our new reward escape points towards. And the next one I'm going to be hosting is on November 15th to the 19th here in Bali. So if you want to come experience it, by the way, many people, if you're coming from the US, we are actually in negotiations with the property right now where you can add on days after. So if you want to go, or even a couple days before, so that way, if you're coming all the way to Bali, you can do, 5 nights, 6 nights, 7 nights to increase your experience while you're here to enjoy more of Bali as well. So we'll get you more details on that, promotional videos. So those are a few pieces here we wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of, and systems. So we're going to be really going into, you're going to see upgraded systems and technology as we launch into Viago during this transitional period, while we're still operating underneath the secret direct back office and still operating underneath the and still operating in the kind of operating our systems before we launch. Sorry, I'm trying not to get myself into trouble with some of the things that are coming. So great stuff. Okay, so now as we go into this, we're going to be closing out the month of August. Okay, end of the month is a very important time for us. It's what's going to determine your rank for the month of September. It also determines your monthly bonus, what we call our squared bonus or our residual monthly bonus, right? So, and the end of this month is a really an important one, right? So the September 1st, this Sunday is my birthday. So, so we're heading into my birthday month. Shout out to my Virgos that are out there. This is Virgo, Viago. I don't know, whatever we're doing. But the end of the month here it's not September yet. So here's all I want for my birthday. I want you to hit your next rank. That's what I want for my birthday. So if you haven't hit 5-5, I want you to be 5-5. If you haven't hit 10-10, time to hit 10-10. If you haven't hit 25-25, your new rank will get you crossing that stage in Vegas and at the launch. This is a big deal. And we want to celebrate you for your achievement and going to get it done. Now, here's the thing. The result is something that comes not from necessarily focusing on the result, but focusing on the proper activities, which is one of the things I want to chat with you guys here today. So as I go back now, just to kind of recap a little bit of what we talked about last week, before we jump into this concept of third party, okay? And really the power of third party. So we talked about in our business how exposure is everything. Okay, so, and there's kind of 3 rules that I want you to kind of write down here as we take a look at this, and I'll put it in here. If for those of you guys that are taking notes, I'd write this down. If you're driving, probably don't take notes, but you can do it on the replay. So exposure is everything. These are little kind of rules, right? Meaning we need to get people exposed to the information, get them in the pipeline, okay? So we talked about it in a deck of cards. There's 52 cards, right, in a deck, but there's only 4 aces. We're not in the convincing business. We are in the sorting business. We're not in the begging business. We're in the sorting business. We're sorting through the deck to find our aces, okay? So by the way, big shout out if you were on last week's call. I want to welcome Sandra Dudley to the Viago family as one of our newest signups who just got started. We'll get in her game plan, and some of you guys know that story, so yay. And I'm sure if she'll be on next week's Zoom if she's not already on this one. Can't wait for you guys to meet her in Vegas. So it's going to be a great story. I can't wait to reenact the picture from my first conventions 22 years ago to the conventions here of launching Viago. So, but exposure is everything. Number 2 is fortune is in the follow up. Okay. Fortune is in the follow up. And number 3 is work with the willing. Okay. So exposure is everything. Fortune is in the follow-up. Work with the willing. These were rules that I learned really in my first weekend of network marketing when I really got started, okay? So fortune is in the follow-up. Now, David made a comment here in the comment sections, which is absolutely right. Fortune is in the follow-up, but fortune is in the immediate follow-up. If you show somebody what we're doing with Viago and follow up with them a year later, that's usually not, fortunate follow-up. That's unfortunate follow-up. So we want to make sure that we have a system towards our follow-ups, but also what do we do when we follow up? And how do we get somebody to the next exposure? How do we get somebody to the next presentation? Because following up with people is one of the things that we're going to be doing consistently and a lot of here. Now, a lot of people in the very beginning feel like a lot of times they're bugging people because it's like, I had to call them 3 or 4 times. We want you to know that's a normal part of it. And people are busy. People have lives. People have all this. It's one of the reasons why we use a system and built a app with our rapid funnel system that is a great tool for follow-ups. Now, we're not going to go through an in-depth training on our rapid funnel because we got some great updates for you guys, but there's stuff on our website that we can show you how to do that. Today, I want to focus you guys on the concept of third party. Now, third party, we talked about this last week of understanding the principle of why it is so significant. But I want to give you a few more ideas and analogies of this so you can kind of see. But we talked about how if this is you, I might even have the notes here somewhere from probably underneath here. But if this is you, okay, all right. So, and this is your prospect or your friend, right? So prospect, this could be your friend. It could be somebody you know, someone you're meeting, but somebody that you're introducing to our company, someone you want to expose to Viago, okay? All right. So this is something that you should have a level of trust, especially if it's somebody we consider warm market, somebody you know, someone who knows you. Now, what I mean by trust is they trust you as they'll take a recommendation from you. All right. So if they said, hey, the movie was great, go see it. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine. It was hilarious. Go watch it. They'll take a recommendation, right? Hey, this restaurant was amazing. Go try it. They'll take a recommendation. Now, if they said, hey, do you recommend this food? And they said, yeah, I'm going to remake you the dish. They might not trust you. Why? Because they know you're not a chef, right? So if they said, well, hey, how was the movie? And you try to reenact the movie, they'd be like, stop, what are you doing? Right? So because you're not the movie, you're just recommending the movie. So this is something that I found very important in the beginning, is that as a new person, and many of you guys, whether you're new and or old, is using this and understanding that when you get a chance to introduce somebody else, it is super important towards your business, not just for you, for them, but to create the duplication. So your prospect, what they will is do is they respect, okay, an expert. Okay, right? Now, an expert is anyone but you. Now, an expert can be a tool. A video can be a tool, right? Now, but one of the best experts to be using is other people, right? Now, what this is third party is confirmation for the information that they have listened to. So how you complete this triangle here is this word called edify or edification, which is speaking highly of someone, okay? Now, through this circle, okay, of using third party, how we used to say it is this, is third party is the best party, or ain't no party like a third party, okay? And through this, we want to understand this concept of it, but I also want to give you a couple of different analogies of how this works. I've been using these all week as my strategy, which has been very important. But I even just got off it. I just got off a three-way Zoom, and that three-way Zoom was with Jeff Bolf, who is introducing somebody who's very successful in our space. And look, Jeff has made millions and millions of dollars inside of the network marketing, is obviously one of our top leaders, top trainers, been in the space. And he's bringing me in as a third party. He said, hey, listen, because he knows what he's doing. And when he did this, he did it beautifully. He edified me. He edified the person. We had a chance to have a conversation, share our stories, and move on. And the person's excited to build Viago with us. Now, so if Jeff Bolf is doing three-way phone calls, you need to be doing three-way phone calls. If Jesse Macpherson is doing three-way phone calls, you need to be doing three-way phone calls. In fact, it's the second thing I track. The first thing I tracked in the very beginning, okay? So, oh, by the way, some of you guys are seeing this. Did you guys see this one? So, yeah, I wasn't, you guys probably weren't supposed to see that, but that's all right. We got new stuff coming for you guys. So be in Vegas. Sorry, I got sidetracked. The importance of this is understanding that it's not about us, is moving to having people understand. Let me share with you a couple of reasons why, okay? All right. People, okay, love third-party validation. I'll give you an example. People will trust strangers, a lot of times recommendations, more than some of the people that they know. I know it's weird, doesn't make sense. Ladies, give you an example, right? Ladies, you're in the store, you're trying on clothes. You're with your girlfriend, right? So, and you're trying on this dress, and they were like, and you're like, how does this look? And your friend's like, that looks great on you, you know? And you're like, really? I don't know, whatever. Stranger walks by. Stranger walks by and says, girl, that looks great on you. What are you doing? Buying it. But yeah, buying it, right? So now you don't know this woman. She could have terrible taste. She could be blind, you know, but guess what? You're like, stranger liked it, buying it, right? So now, same thing that happens, you know, when we take a look at it, the third party. Third party also helps end conversations and end arguments, even if the third party doesn't know what they're talking about. Let's say Tim and I are arguing about when the Bulls did their first three-peat. And I was like, no, listen, you know, yeah, no, the three-peat, yeah, that was like 92 to 95. And you're like, and Tim was like, no, it wasn't. It was 90 to 93. And I'm like, Tim, it was not. It was 92 to 95. And Tim's like, no, I know it was because I was in college at the time. Was this? And I was like, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. And then we go over and we go say, and we call up Gregory. And Gregory, we go, hey, Greg, when did the Bulls three-peat? And he's like, oh, it was 90 to 93. Into the conversation, right? So introducing a third party when there's an objection, when there's like all of these different things. So third party helps for validation. Third party helps overcoming objections. Third party, right? So I'm going to raise your hand. So if you call it Tim, you'd be like, what's up? So he'd be like, you're wrong. Don't even call somebody else. In fact, don't even talk to me again, right? So, but third party helps with those pieces. But there's another element of one of the reasons why a lot of people don't understand the power of this, and some of it is subconscious. So why is it subconscious? Is because it's an opposite way of doing business than we believe that we are meant to do through employment. Give you an example. Let's say I work at a store, okay? And I work at a clothing store, and I have a customer come in and they have a question. And I am the new retail person, right? And that's my job. And the person comes in, asks a question, and I go, ooh, that's a good question. Let me go talk to my manager. And you go to your manager and you bring the customer over and you go, customer, this is manager, this is customer. They had a question. And the customer goes, question, manager, answer, good, right? Answer the question, sale happens, sale doesn't happen, we move on. Next person comes in, says, hey, I got this problem, and I go, ooh, that's a good problem. So hang on one second. And you go to the manager and you go, manager, this is problem, this is manager. You go, hey, yeah, okay, yes. Manager solves problem or helps the person overcome the problem, person leaves. Next person comes in, says, hey, I got a question. Great question. Hang on, let me get my manager. And you go to your manager and you bring a customer to your manager, right? How many times before you do this, before your manager is going to say what? Right? So do your job or you're fired, right? So meaning stop bothering me with stuff that you're supposed to be doing. So what happens a lot of the times in the employment world is the job is to be proficient to where you don't use somebody else, right? Makes sense. Totally understand. Chain of command, that's the job. Here's the thing. Inside of Viago, that is your job. That is your job. Your job when you're new is not to be the expert. Your job is to ole out of the way. Now, what do we mean by that? How many of you guys have ever seen bullfighters? Right? So I'm from back in the day, right? And what do? The bull's running at them. They don't stand in front of the way and be like, come and get me. Let me tell you everything. No, it's like, whoop. They're not like trying to wrestle the bull, like they're just going, whoop, ole out of the way, ole out of the way, right? So another way to look at it as an analogy, just because I'm giving you all the ones I got, right, is directing traffic. That's the way I look at it, right? So if you're directing traffic, it's like, okay, oh, I got something over here for you. Oh, you want to know more about this? Oh, it's like, I am not it. I am not the deal. I am the messenger. I am the potential. Now, my job is to be the trailer, not the movie, to be the excitement as to why. So through this follow-up, we're going to talk a little bit about this so that way we can get into it. So third party and using three-way phone calls, okay? So, and all of this. So a big thing on three-way phone calls is setting it up as much as possible. So when I'm following up with somebody after they've been exposed, now for those of you guys that are new, definitely go watch the replay of last week's training. You can find it on the website. So on our YouTube channel, Team Synergy Agents, because that way it'll kind of give you context in case you missed last week. But once you followed up, the number one thing is you're going to say is not what did you like, what did you think, or sorry, what did you think, is what did you like best? What did you like best from what you saw? Okay, so what excited you the most? All right. Now, for me, I like to ask an assumptive question even before I ask that. I was like, that was cool, wasn't it? Okay, that was cool, wasn't it? All right. Now, everybody do this. Smile. Right. So we call that nodding and bobbing. So that was cool, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty awesome, huh? So makes sense, doesn't it? They're like, yeah. Even if they don't want, they're like, yeah. They kind of usually will go with you a little bit on it. And then it's like, well, listen, what did you like best about what you saw? Right now, I could go for the assumptive close if I really wanted to, which is, so you ready to get started? Okay. All right. So you ready to join the club? If for those of you guys that are right now, I was terrified in the beginning of asking a closing question, terrified. All right. So I remember being like, so did you like it? That was where I started many years ago. To the point where I was almost like, if they liked it, I was like, you sure? Like, almost like, and they were like, yeah, it makes total sense. I'm like, really? I'm like, by the way, don't respond that way. Because you're going to get a lot of people that are going to be no's and yeses. We talked about that last week. Let's talk about the transition and what a three-way phone call is, how to set it up, how to do it properly. Okay. Now, today, I believe that there are multiple ways to do a three-way phone call. It doesn't need to be necessarily a phone call in today's times. A lot of the times, it can be in a chat. In fact, a lot of times that's the easiest way to do a group message with somebody that you want to connect or introduce them to. Okay. I want to share with you some of the ways that I've transitioned and how I set the call up and then how I get back to them. And somebody asked a question, what do you do when you can't get a hold of a three-way? Most of the time, and I can't get a hold of a three-way on the moment, I'm setting an appointment. So it's a set appointment, or I put them in a three-way chat so that way they can at least share their testimonial and then we can set an appointment. Okay. So now, first things first. Okay. So is how do I transition? One of the number one things I did in the beginning when I asked them, what did you like best, is I said, look, okay, depending on what they liked, is I can't wait. It's like a privilege. It's like a pleasure. It's like an excitement that I have. Like I'm giddy, I'm joyful about it, to introduce them to the people that I'm working with, because I want them to hear their story. Okay. You got to hear this person's story. Now, usually what I'm doing is as I'm relating this, so if I'm talking to my friend, Edith, we talked about this last week, who just got started as well. So, and Edith was, and I said, what did you like best? She was like, well, listen, I got these girls and we wanted to go to Italy. And I'm like, great, I have a friend of mine who just got back from Italy. Maybe there's a way I can get a chance for her to share your story. She'd be like, that would be great. When I was talking to Sandra right after our Zoom last week, when I was talking to her, I got her, she's approaching turning 70, and she's like, look, I want to just kind of live, I want to travel more. And I was like, well, listen, one of the people that I work with, Raymond and Janie Braun, a lot of their people are in that kind of retirement community, and they're traveling and they just have fun traveling the world. So I was like, perfect connection. So all these different pieces. Now, so these are pieces where I'm looking for someone that I can try to connect their story to if possible. I might not always be able to do that, and it doesn't have to be a specific person. So don't believe just because, I gotta find somebody that's the same age and somebody that went to the same trip and somebody to do that. Don't get caught up on that. Very important. But what I am looking for is, listen, I'm so excited about the people that I'm working with. Now, here's an easy kind of transition. It's like, look, if you decided to work with us, this is the time I want to introduce you to the people that we would be working with together. Okay. So I want you to hear their story. I want you to hear her story. I want you to hear his story. Okay. So now the other question is this. In the very beginning, what I was trying to do is remove myself from answering a lot of the questions. So when people would ask me, they would be like, hey, what about this? And be like, listen, so I'm just getting started with this. I'm actually in kind of, in training. I'm understanding it myself. So that's a great question. Let's find out, or let me find out. What I would do is this. A lot of the times is somebody said, well, hey, how does this work? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? And I'd be like, that's a great question, right? So let me find out. I'm just getting started with it. Now, even if I knew the answer, a lot of the times I would still use this as a excuse or a way to bridge a third party. So if somebody was like, well, hey, listen, do you guys have, can you do this? All right. So can I bring kids on the escapes? How many people can I bring? I was like, that's a great question. Look, I'm just getting started with this. I'm new. Let me find out. Are you going to be by your phone for the next 30 minutes or hour? Perfect. Listen. All right. If I call back, make sure you pick up. So when I call, now I'm looking for a third party. So I'll send a text message to the people in the group, send it in the people I'm working with. my upline, my support team, I got to find a group of people that I can start using three-way phone calls for, because not one person is going to be available all the time ever. You probably want to have about a half a dozen to a dozen that you can ask if they're available for a three-way phone call. Okay. Now, the other thing here is, okay, well, hang on one sec. Unmute or mute everybody. Is are you available for a three-way? It's kind of a yes or no. Now, I'm not mad if somebody doesn't text me back. They're busy. In fact, I don't need them to respond. I'm just trying to find somebody that could be available. So let's say I go out there and I get Tim. And I get Tim and I go, hey, Tim, listen, I just was talking to my friend Michelle. Michelle had questions about the membership and how it works. So do you have a minute you could introduce you? So now when I call back Michelle, I've got Tim on the line, meaning I'm not on the phone with Michelle searching for Tim, trying to get a three-way phone call. I'm bringing the three-way phone call back to the person. So, and this works for me very well because, of course, if I'm just like, hang on one sec and I can't get someone, hang on one sec again, it's kind of weird. So, I'm calling back Tim and I'm calling back my prospect and saying, listen, Michelle, listen, I was really fortunate. I actually was able to get a hold of one of my business partners who's an expert in this, who's been incredibly successful in this industry. And I was asking him the question, so I made sure I got a clarification. And instead of me giving you half the answer, I figured he could give you the full answer, maybe, and answer any other questions that you have. And I really am excited for you to hear his story, because if you decide to partner with us, this is one of the people that's here to support us and growing our business. So, click. I'm not like, do you want to talk to Tim? I'm not asking permission. So, and I just bring him in. I was like, hey, Tim, so listen, this is my friend, Michelle. Okay. Now let me walk you through. There's a few other things on transitioning to the three-way phone call or to a three-way chat or a three-way message. Right. So, and a lot of the times what I'll do is this, I say, hey, listen, if I told them about this person, I was like, you remind me so much of my friend, Tim. You remind me so much of my friend. They had a similar background, or they had a similar this, or your story is interesting, or a question. If I can't get the three-way phone call, okay, done, I can do a three-way chat, meaning like put them in a group message together. It's really great. And then I can just leave an audio message, right? So I put Michelle and I put Tim in a three-way, and I go, hey, Michelle, this is my friend Tim, so, and I know our schedules might not match up right now between work schedules, but I really wanted you to get a chance to hear Tim's story and definitely get a chance for you to connect and answer your questions. So, Michelle, you can drop any of your questions here into the chat. Tim, if you wouldn't mind, if you could share your story. Now, I do this through audio because audio is going to be a lot more powerful. Okay. Now, of course, my goal is to get a connection, is to schedule it or schedule a time when we can do this, if at all possible. But these are some ways in getting into the three-way. Story. You got to hear this person's story. That's a great question. Let me find out. I'm bringing them the information back, but I'm bringing it back from an expert, right? So I'm also telling them, listen, if you want to know how to make money quickly with this company, what did you like best? Well, the money. Listen, if you want to make money quickly, I got the person you need to talk to. Again, Olay out of the way. Olay out of the way. I am searching for any way through my question of asking, what did you like best, to exit myself as quickly as possible to bring in somebody else, right? So it doesn't matter if it's a story, if it's a testimonial, it can be anything. I just want a third party. I want somebody who walks by and says, yep, it's awesome. Yes, you should do it. Yes, it's worked for me. That is not me. Remember, they know you, they'll trust you to probably take a recommendation, but some of your friends don't even trust you with recommendations. That's because you've been wrong before, right? Also, a lot of times we'll have a hard time joining you in business until they see you're successful. So they got to get other people to see it. So this is really important, okay, to remove yourself from it, to interject. Now, this is not that a lot of people have a hard time kind of pushing their ego down on this stuff. Whereas for me, all I'm doing is like pass, peek and pass, peek and pass, peek and pass. What did you like? Wasn't that cool? Wasn't that amazing? Oh my God, check this out. Oh, and then through this exposure process, the majority of people don't sign up on their first exposure, their first presentation. So it takes them 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I know this, I don't get caught up on when they get signed up. I'm just going to the next exposure. So I'm like, hey, listen, watch this video. Great. Did you like that? Awesome. Well, listen, you got to talk. You know that guy that was on that trip that you saw? Oh my God, you got to hear his story from the trip and what they saved, right? So, oh my God, Vegas, man, you got to talk. Let me introduce you to the person who's actually putting on the event and putting on the. I am like, what? This is, it's almost like when they're fighting. You guys remember the Matrix, you know, where he's shooting at him and it's like slow and he's like dodging it, and it's like, I'm like, whatever I can do. I hope I'm animated enough for you guys to get this concept, right? So, third party, as much as humanly possible as you can get it. Now, does that mean every single time? Do I have to do a 3-way phone call before someone signs up? No. If I did the presentation, because many of you, you're not new anymore. If you're not new, you should be able to do an effective presentation. When you're new, I don't expect you to do a presentation. I expect you to be able to invite to a presentation, right? That's where we're starting from. But eventually, the goal is for you to do a presentations, right? Just like the goal is for your child to eventually feed themselves. Okay, so, all right. But when I'm doing the presentation, I'm still talking third party all the time. Let me tell you the story of this person. Let me tell you the story of this person. Let me tell you the story of this person. Let me tell you my friend who just got started and here's what they did. How many of you guys noticed when I was doing even my training last week, I was telling stories of other people? Guess what I started this training with? A story of how Jeff Bolf did 3-way phone calls with me. All of it for me is not me saying, this is what you need to do. Let me tell you a story about this other. So as much as we can make it, this ain't about me. I'm excited to be on this journey. This thing's going with or without me 100 miles an hour. I just want to go for the ride. Do you want to jump on with me? Yes or no, I'm fine with. I just needed you to know, because if you want to go with me, now's the time. I would rather you say no now than yes later. We talked about that. So these are a couple of things in 3-ways. Now, let me break down what should happen on the 3-way phone call from the prospect as the agent side or the ambassador side. Oh, gotta get agent out of my head. 13 years of saying agent. It's going to take me a minute to say ambassador, but I'm getting there. And I want to also talk about the expert side. So let me talk about the both sides of what your job is as a 3-way expert, because many of you don't believe that you could be a great 3-way expert, and that is not true. It's a simple process and simple steps. Okay. So step number 1, when you introduce your expert, okay, is to edify your prospect and edify your expert. Okay. Right now, here's one of the mistakes I see people make. So step 1 is edify your prospect, edify your expert, edify each other, speak highly of each other. However, right, so it's really important that you don't over edify your prospect to where your prospect feels like they're the more successful expert in the scenario. Okay. So a good example is if I'm introducing somebody that's a friend of mine, is like, dear friend of mine, they're amazing, and I'm going to say something positive about my friend. Okay. But I'm going to use me, and I'm going to actually just draw this out so we can actually have an analogy for it that's going to work on video instead of me just jabbering at you. All right. So let's say this is Jesse. Okay. In this case, I'm going to say that my prospect is Michelle. Okay. Right. And this is my prospect, and Tim is going to be my expert. Okay. All right. So Tim, you're going to be my expert, so don't mess it up. Okay. So, all right. Now, Michelle is going to be my prospect. Okay. Maybe she's my friend. Okay. And this is going to be me. So in this particular case, just so you can see this visual, is I'm going to talk, when I finally connect them, okay, which gave you some ideas of how to do that. By the way, it'll be awkward and weird in the beginning. Don't worry. It's like your first kiss. It sucked, but you kept doing it and then you figured it out. Okay. So through this is, once I got a chance to connect these two, I'm going to say, look, so Tim, this is Michelle. Michelle, this is Tim. So Tim, this is my friend, Michelle. Michelle is, she's amazing. She works really hard. She's a committed mother. Something positive that is real. Don't make up stuff. People know when you're full of shit, right? So, speak highly about Michelle. So, something that you admire about her, something you like about her, something that you love about her, right? So, which is important. So now, Michelle, this is Tim. He's one of my business partners, and I have a ton of respect for. Okay, so the reason why is he's incredibly knowledgeable when it comes to Viago, this industry. He's been a huge support with me. So he's an absolute blast to work with, and he's been very successful, and he loves helping people. Okay. Now, for those of you guys that studied the personality traits, red, greens, blue, yellows, I might say something to edify Tim in each of those colors, but I might predominantly lean on what Michelle's personality type is. Now, some of you guys are going, what's personality types? Maybe that'll be the training for next week. Since we're continuing on this vein. But so I'm going to talk about Tim. So Tim, this is my friend Michelle. Michelle, this is my friend Tim. I'm going to set up the introduction, and then I'm going to shut up. Shut up. Shut your mouth. And so like, it's one of those things, my Lord, that I have been through, or no, where it has been very interesting. Be quiet, okay? And take notes. Do not interrupt Tim, because what you did is, if you're going to edify Tim and introduce him to Michelle as your expert and your partner, and then you interrupt Tim, you destroyed the whole makeup of the purpose of this, right? So now, when you introduce, I can't even tell you how many times I did this in the beginning, is as the person introducing, you got to introduce your prospect properly. And if you lead your expert, they can help you, right? So, but I can't even tell you how many times I've got on the phone where it's like someone will put me on the phone, I'm the expert, and let's say it's Tim is the prospect, and Tim gets on, and Tim's like, "Hey Tim, this is Michelle." Hi, Michelle. This just literally happened to me the other day. And I was like, look, and I'm not mad. I didn't train the person properly, you know? So here's the thing. I would rather them do it wrong than not do it at all. But, you know, at the same time, I'm like, oh, that did not start well. You know, I'm climbing an uphill battle now. I don't have any, it's just, yeah, it's awkward. I've had my favorite is when they introduce it wrong, right? And what I mean by that is they, hey Michelle, this is my buddy Jesse. He's like the upline guy. You know, he's the guy like on top of the pyramid. I've literally heard some people introduced that way, right? I also had one guy introduce me, and he's like, hey Michelle, this is Jesse. Jesse, you know, tell her about the money. You know, get her, get her, get her, get her. So I know you're saying this, you know, like there's no way, guys. I have 22 years of stories of the most ridiculous stuff you could possibly imagine, right? When it came to three-way phone calls. So, oh man, I have a story for you guys. It's probably not appropriate, but we might save it for later. So I don't even know. Should we share this one? So okay, I'm going to share it. It's in my head. I got to share it. All right, I got to take the camera off for this one because it's so ridiculous, right? So anyway, so one of my buddies that was one of my first aces that I signed up many, many years ago. His name was Hunter. So incredibly smart guy. So anyway, he calls me, and he was doing cold calls. He was calling like old cold call lists, and he got this guy, and he calls me and he goes, hey, I got this three-way phone call. Can you do it? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So he puts me on this three-way phone call, and he goes, hey, John, this is Bob. You know, I don't remember the guy's name. I'm just making it up. So, and he goes, this is Bob, you know, so, and Bob goes, are you the guy who's sleeping with my wife? And I was like, no, no. And Hunter is laughing hysterically in the background, right? So I was like, no, that's not me. I thought we were talking about the opportunity. I thought you were looking for an opportunity, you know, like I'm backtracking because I was like, what's going on? So anyway, so he hangs up on me. I know this is totally inappropriate, but we're already, you know, knee deep in this. So I'm going to finish the story. So Hunter, I was like, Hunter, what the heck was that? He was like, yeah, I don't know. I called this guy, and he was on this list of people that were looking for an opportunity. And I called him, and I asked him if he was open to an opportunity. And he was like, are you the guy sleeping with my wife? And he said, no, but I know the guy who is. And he called me to do the three-way phone call. So now here's the best part. We hung up the phone, yeah, and then he called him back, and he said let's call Paul. So our friend Paul, we called Paul, and we did a multi three-way phone call, and we called Paul and said, hey, can you do a three-way phone call for us? And we got Paul on the phone with the guy too. Poor guy. I'm really sorry, but anyway, stupid stuff. Anyway, look, if you're not having fun doing the business, it happens. You're gonna find the strangest stuff. I've had people say the weirdest things to me, but why I'm sharing this with you is I've also met the greatest people ever through these conversations of meeting people. Now, as the expert, let me walk you through the expert. So your prospect, when you're introducing as the prospect, is to introduce, shut up, listen. Okay, take notes. I learned how to overcome all objections by doing three-way phone calls. Because on the three-way phone call, the person that was the expert was asking a follow-up question, asking a closing question. And I learned how to overcome objections, not by studying in a classroom, not by listening, but by making money, because my business was growing, because if they signed up, they were on my team. So this is where I learned how to be a great third-party expert, is by getting a lot of people on three-ways, okay? Now, not all three-way phone calls turn into closing. They might just be an exposure. It might just be a story. It might just be a testimonial. It might not be, it might just be a part of the exposure process. Okay. It might not turn into a full thing. It could be a 3-minute one. It could be a 5-minute one. Shouldn't be much longer than 10, 15 minutes unless they're very interested in what you're saying and they're asking you a lot of questions, which means I'm potentially ready to get started. So your job as an expert, let's talk through this, okay? As an expert, once your prospect introduces you to this person, right? So you have an important job to do, okay? You are an ambassador for Viago. You're representing the company. You're also representing the culture of our company, which means you are a representation of support, of what support can be, okay? You're also an ambassador for the person that introduced you to that person, okay? Because remember, most people are looking at it as, do I like these people? Do they seem good to work with? Is this experience enjoyable? Does it feel, those are important things that people are asking. What's the feeling behind this, okay? So number one thing that I'm going to do when they introduce me is re-edify my agent or ambassador. All right. So I'm going to re-edify. Step one. So when I'm the expert, okay, I'm going to flip the roles here. And let's say Tim introduced me to Michelle. I'm the expert. Tim is the ambassador. Michelle is the prospect. So Tim goes, this is my friend Michelle. Michelle, this is Jesse. He's one of our top leaders here, has been very successful, and edifies me and introduces. And I say, hey, Michelle, it's a pleasure to meet you. So Michelle says, hey, likewise. So I say, listen, Michelle, listen, before we kind of get started, I just want to let you know, your friend Tim is been doing amazing with us. He just got started, but maybe he already got his first sign up if he got it. Maybe he got his first presentation done or whatever it is. So, but I'm going to re-edify Tim. I know you've known Tim maybe longer than I have, but I'm telling you, I have getting a chance to work with him. I feel very strongly about not only the success he's going to have, but the types of people he's introducing me to leads me to believe that we're working with the right people. So I'm introducing, okay, them to I'm re-edifying. Number one, okay. Number two is I'm going to form, or I'm going to ask questions of the prospect, okay? So about them quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. So, oh, Michelle, so where are you from? Where's home for you? Where are you from? Chicago. Oh, really? Okay, that's amazing. All right. Did the Bulls win the three-peat? No, just kidding. So from Chicago. So, oh, that's so it's awesome. Michelle, what do you do? What do you do for work currently? Okay. So I do this, right? So I'm I'm a pharmacist. I'm in the medical field. I'm a trainer. I'm a whatever. So that's awesome. So how long have you been doing that? Okay. So as an expert, you know what your job is? Ask quality questions. Ask quality questions and then tell your testimonial. Ask quality questions, tell your testimonial, close or move to the next event. Ask quality questions, tell your testimonial, close or move to the next event, or exposure, I should say. Okay. Might not be an event, because sometimes people think an event could be just the next exposure. Okay. So ask quality questions. So how long have you been doing that? Do you love it? That's one of my favorite questions to ask when, so do you love it? And if they love it, great. That's awesome. So, do you love it? Most people are like, pays the bills. So, okay. All right. So now I'm gonna, well, great. So Tim tells me you had a chance to take a look at some information. Is that correct? Tim tells me you had a chance to take a look at some information. Is that correct? So yeah. So did you get a chance to watch the video? Did he sit down and show you the PowerPoint? So, oh yeah, I watched the video. So, okay, great. So awesome. So from what you saw, what excited you the most about what you saw? What did you like best? That's just a different way to say it. Okay. What did you like best? Okay. So, oh, I like the travel. I like this. I like that. I'd be like, absolutely. Me too. Whatever they said, it's me too. Because if they like the products, guess what? Me too. If they like escapes, guess what? Me too. If they like that idea about going to Dubai, guess what? Me too. If they like the $150 commissions for a person, guess what? Me too. If they liked it, me too. Right. So, right. And now, if you like them, what do they like best? They might go right into an objection. They might go into, well, what about this? Or what about that? Or what about this? Right. So, all right, we'll do a different training on objections. Maybe that'll be next week. Oh, just keeping the flow going. But through this as an expert, let me finish this because this is important. So I'm just asking the questions. I say, well, what did you like best about what you saw? So well, that's amazing. First of all, well, let me share with you my experience. Okay. That's another way of sharing. Well, let me share with you my story, or let me tell you my testimonial. Let me tell you a little bit about my experience. So I was first introduced, and knowing how to share your story is very important. Okay. So as an expert, your job is to share your story. So I was introduced to this industry. I was introduced to this concept. I was introduced to this program, right? So you're going to share your story. I've shared my story almost the same way for 22 years. It's not changing. So here's the thing. I know it's kind of crazy. So many years ago, I was introduced to this concept. I was actually in Los Angeles, and I had moved there at a young age because I was pursuing an entertainment career. I was a professional hip hop dancer. Yes, I know I'm white. Joke works almost every time they laugh. I said that joke 22 years ago, people laughed. And so guess what? Been saying it for 22 years. Guess what I'm probably going to do? Say it for another 22 years. Why? Because it works. So, all right. So yeah, anyway, I was a starving artist, just looking for a way to be able to find a way to pay rent without having to call mom at the end of the month. People were like, guess what? I've been saying that for 22 years. Doesn't change. So once I've kind of learned the story, because my story didn't change, my start didn't change. Okay. So, and here's where I was at. I wasn't looking for a business. In fact, I had no business being in a business. All right. So I was a starving artist trying to make some money and without having to go wait tables. That's honestly. And this woman in my dance class introduced me to this concept of residual income. And I was skeptical, but I was also hopeful, maybe this could be something that could be good for me. And so I ended up, so when I got started, I kind of, and I started going to the training. It was amazing. I was able to start making a few extra dollars every month, which helped me with putting a full tank of gas in my car, which helped me being able to pay rent on time without having to call mom. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about how I made 6 figures last month. Like, that's stupid. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm talking about how I was looking at this, I was interested, and I'm telling my story about like where they are. Interested in looking, interested in curious, interested in cautious, right? That's where most people are all, because if I'm on a 3-way phone call with them, they obviously haven't just said no. So through this, I'm telling my story of how I got started in this industry. Hi, baby. You want to come say hi? You want okay, come here, real quick. No, you can't take that. Oh my God, come here. Yes, yum yum. You can't have that. Come here. Want to say hi? So here. Oh, say hi. Say hi. Hi. Are you happy? Happy? Hi. Happy. Say happy. Hi. Happy. Can you say third party? Third party. 3-way calls. Hi. Yeah, exactly. All right, Ivy. Oh, I know. You gotta go. So, hi, I know. I gotta finish this training though, and then we can play a little bit. Okay. So, okay. Oh, there's your yum yum. So, oh, now she's gone. So, all right. So, 3 phone calls, bringing in the expert. Where was I? Sorry, I got distracted. She's super cute, right? Mm, what was I talking about? Somebody help me in the chat. Nobody. 3 phone calls. I know I was talking to where, but where was I in the story? Okay. Oh, telling my story to relate to them. Thank you so much. Okay. So everybody was like, we don't care. We just want to see Phoenix more. Okay, I got it. Right. So, okay. So what did you like best? I'm sharing with them my story. Okay. Now, my goal is to connect my story to as much as I possibly can about them and their information and what I know about them, if I possibly can. Right. So, through this, what I ended up doing was I'm trying to build a bridge through them and have it relate to them. So, here's where I was at in my life, and here's where I got started. And thank God this changed my world. Now, what I was interested in. Now, what I'm talking to them about now is, but right now, what we're so excited about is launching Viago. Okay. So now this has been my experience. We've been fortunate to I've gone on this many trips, go on this many vacations, save this much. I want to share a testimonial with them about why Viago. Could be savings related, could be experience related, could be money related, could be all kinds of, it doesn't necessarily matter, but it's got to be something that you're passionate and something that you are excited about. Hang on one sec. Dog's locked in here. So, okay, come on, go. Okay. So now um, so through this testimonial, now one of the big things that I definitely want to make sure that I'm doing is talking about why now, why getting started now. The timing of getting started now is very special. Okay. So in business, timing is everything. So, I'm sure you've heard that before. In real estate, they say location, location, location. In business, they say timing, timing. But even real estate, I know people who bought in the right location at the wrong time and got smoked. So it's still always timing. Okay. So, right. Timing, timing, timing. Okay. Now, through this, it's very, very, very important when I'm talking towards closing. Okay. So now, let's say this person is giving me all the signs. They're excited. They're like, ooh, or cool, or yes, or excited. You should kind of have a feeling of whether or not somebody's like ready to go. Okay. So if I feel somebody's ready to go, I'm going to ask a closing question. And then what I'm going to do is, or move to the next exposure. Okay. Or the next event, next presentation. I'm going to promote whatever's next. Okay. So if they're giving me all of that, I'm going to say, listen, so it sounds like you're ready to get started. Okay. Sounds like you're ready to get started. So it's great. I can literally go right into closing questions. So, right. Now, there's a lot of different types of closing questions, right? So that I could ask. So and I could even ask a follow-up. It's like, hey, well, do you have any questions or are you ready to get started today? Another closing question. So, right. Now, if they ask me an objection, say, is there anything holding you back from getting going today? Another way to ask a closing question. But at the end of this, now, if they do have a questions, I'm going to do my best to answer those questions, right? Now, I might be the third party and I might also need third party. That's okay. That happens, right? Sometimes people have come to me and they ask me something and I'm like, I don't know. So I got to get somebody else now. Now we got another third party. Great. Now I got 2 third parties. What is this person experiencing? This is really important. What it boils down to on the back end is this person is realizing that I don't have to be the expert. Okay. Because my prospect, Michelle, is thinking about how I do this. And I said, well, what did I do with you? Well, you sent me this video, you showed me this stuff, and then you introduced me to someone else. And then they introduced someone to someone else. Could you do that? Yeah, I could do that. See, I'm not trying to make you an expert. That's what our system is for. That's what our team is for. Right. So they're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, could you do what I did to you? And they got to be able to say yes quickly. Okay. So as the expert answering questions and asking closing questions. Now, a lot of the times, if I'm confused, let's say I don't know if this person is like, I'm not getting the buying signs. I'm not sure. Do they like it? Do they not like it? Do they like me? Do they not like me? Whatever. I might ask them, as they say, hey, listen, Michelle, look, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being totally not interested, 10 being ready to go right now, where would you find yourself on that? If you're a scale, I'm a 2. Oh, well, okay. Well, it doesn't sound like this is probably before you or not. Okay. So, and then I can move on. I'm going to share with you what I do with kind of a no or a not now. But then the second one is this, I'm a 7. Ah, that's awesome. So listen, Michelle, what would we have to do to get you to a 10? It's another way to say, what other things do you need to see and or hear? So now some of you guys are like, well, they have an objection. This is not a training on objections today. We can do that next week. Okay. But what I'm doing from this is I'm gauging them, right? Is to the next. Now I'm not trying to close them and hard close them. But I'm going to ask if they're ready to get going. Let's get you going, right? You ready to get started? Let's get you started. Let's get you moving, right? If there's something holding you back, let's get you through that. But the next thing I'm doing is moving to the next. So it was like, well, listen, let's get you on this presentation. When can we set up a Zoom? When can we go through the information? Like, well, I don't know how it all works. Well, why don't we set up a Zoom? I can walk you through so you can see. And here's what I want you to be thinking about. Where's a few places in the world that you would love to go? Let's do some research and figure out what's available. And I'll walk them through the OTA and I'll go show them the weeks that they can build. I had a person sign up this week because in the new OTA, if you go to the booking engine and you go to weeks, they were like, holy smokes, you can get a week in this place they wanted to go for like $700 at this resort they'd stayed at before that they knew was expensive. That's what signed them up, right? So now what I'm doing is getting them to the next exposure. All right. So the next exposure, if they're not ready to join, next exposure. Not ready to join, next exposure. Okay. Now inviting them to an event, inviting them to an RT, inviting them to coffee, inviting them to lunch, inviting them to the next piece. Okay. So as the expert, ask a closing question, invite on the next exposure, or promote the next event. That's your job. Okay. All right. Now you got to make sure that you follow up. Now, if somebody's a no or a not interested, right? So what I'm going to lean back on is this. So if Michelle said, you know what? I just don't think it's really for me. I said, listen, I totally understand. Say, Michelle, here's all I'm going to ask of you. So number one, is it okay if Tim keeps you informed? So I'm asking the friend if it's okay if Tim keeps you informed as to what we're doing. Michelle's probably going to say yes. So that is open grounds for Tim to follow up later without feeling weird about it. So Tim can be, hey, I just wanted to keep you informed. We just launched this new product if you're interested. Hey, just wanted to keep you informed. We just had a new trip to Dubai if you're interested. Hey, by the way, so it's an easy way for Tim to keep her informed. Second thing is this. I say, Michelle, listen, do you know anybody that this next year would really like to get out there and explore the world more? So I'm going to ask for referrals. So if somebody's a no, I'm going to ask for, can I keep you informed? And who do you know? All right. Now, instead of just saying, who do you know? Try to be more specific. And what I mean by that is, do you know anybody right now that is looking to travel in this next year or has some trips planned that has been talking about it from your friends or at work that maybe we could show the program to if it could help them? Okay. So now sometimes they're going to be no, sometimes they're going to be yes. I say, well, Michelle, here's the only thing I'm going to ask you is the next time you go online to book something, okay, before you book it, check with Tim to see if we can beat it. This will help you. Listen, this is all I'm going to ask. So if you're not ready to join the club right now, so watch this. Before you book, because they're going to be doing something. So the next time they're thinking about going on vacation or going on a trip, what I want is top of the mind awareness. I want them thinking about Viago. I want them thinking about Tim. So listen, before you book your next trip, is that, listen, just allow us to check to see if Tim can beat it. Because if so, then, it probably makes sense for you to join the club. Okay. Now, maybe I don't get her on a pre-launch pack, but I got her as a member, and then maybe she'll upgrade later. You guys are kind of getting this flow. So all of these things that we're doing here that are going to help you through this process. So let's just recap. Again, we've been here an hour. These trainings are going a little bit long, but I'm trying to give you as much of this as I possibly can because there isn't one scenario that this is going to work. It's not like this. And most of the time they got size. I had 3 no-shows. I had 2 no-shows yesterday from people that confirmed appointments with me, right? So you're going to have this. It's going to happen, right? So don't get caught up on the people that are maybes, kind of, sort of, whatever. We're looking for the lookers. We're sorting through the deck to find our aces. You're looking for your Sandras. So, which is really cool. But recapping. Your job is to Olay out of the way, direct in traffic, is to not, you're the messenger, not the message. Okay. Now, doesn't mean that I can't be an incredible messenger, meaning like, here's the amazing things I love about Viago, but I'm talking about everything else. I'm talking about the trips they're taking. I'm not even talking about what I'm doing a lot of the times. I'm not talking about the money I'm making. So, because in the beginning, you don't have that story. So if the only way you could be successful is to be making a lot of money, then nobody would have made it in this industry. So the point is for you to be able to connect it and go, look, you want to hear their story. I got to introduce you. I don't know. I'm new. Let me introduce you to someone who's got the answers. Let me connect you with this dots. So I love this. I can't wait for you to meet them. Now, are there some people that'll be like, I don't want to talk to anybody? Yeah, well, okay. Well, then they're probably not if they're like, I don't want to talk to anybody, they're probably not going to be a good ambassador. Because you kind of get that, right? So if they're that, like, maybe they're not the person we want on the trip. So, yeah, so just keep that in mind. I know sometimes there's people we want more than they want it for themselves. As an expert, you're going to edify, introduce. You're not going to be like, get them, Tiger. You're not going to say, hey, Michelle, Tim, Michelle, go. Right? You're going to edify, introduce your prospects, right? So to your expert, what are you going to do? Number one, you're going to re-edify the ambassador. Number two, you're going to ask questions about them. Form, a lot of times you'll hear that. I saw that in the chat box, which family, occupation, but ask them some questions. What do they do? What did they see? What did they like best about what they saw? Okay. And then you're going to share your story or your testimonial. And then you're going to close with why now they want to get started, and ask a closing question or promote the next event. Okay. Ask a closing question, promote the next event. All right. Now, you could even like an RTE. I use three-way phone calls to confirm people for RTEs. I have a friend of mine that says, hey, will you come to this event, come to this event, come to this event? They said yes to me. But until they said yes to a stranger, they ain't coming. Say, hey, listen, oh my God, I was talking to my friend Tim, who's one of my business partners. I told him you were coming to the event with me on Saturday. Listen, I got him on the other line. I wanted to introduce you to him real quick because he was excited to meet you. Click, click. Tim, hey, this is my friend Michelle. Michelle, this is Tim. She's coming to the event on Saturday. She's amazing. Hey, Michelle, listen, I don't want to bother you in the middle of your day. Jesse and I were just talking. Anyway, he told me you were coming to the Saturday event. Is that true? Yeah, great, perfect. I'll make sure we have a seat set aside for you. I'm excited to be able to chance to meet you. I've been working with this company and this concept for the last couple of years. It's been amazing for me and my family. Anyway, I think you're going to love what you see. Could be a confirmation three-way. So these are just, again, more and more ways that I can introduce other people. So here's one of the things I want you to think about. How many people did you expose? And then how many people did you get on the phone? That is the next piece of the puzzle. For many of you, this is the only thing that's missing between you and momentum. This is it. Okay. So that's it. More third party. So it is time to get in on some third party fun. So let's have some incredible fun. Next week, we might go through objections. We might go through personalities. I feel like objections would probably be a really good one for next week, considering we're on the vein of exposing, we're on the veins of follow-ups, we're on the veins of three-ways. And because right now we are going to be going through the end of the month aggressively, finishing this out as much as humanly possible. So it is time to close August. September ain't here yet. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. Fat lady ain't singing. She ain't even warmed up. Just so you guys know, there's so much time. Finish your month strong and run through the tape. And then you can start my birthday month as we go through the month of September. Last thing I'll leave you with here, guys, is this. Today is August 28th, which is my mom's birthday. So as many of you guys know, I lost my mom May 2nd, 2019 in an accident. And my mom was my world, right? So, and my greatest teacher, my greatest inspiration. A lot of the things that people admire about me is simply a reflection of an incredible mom. And I'm excited. I'm in the process of writing her book. My mom's last name was Savage. So, or the working title right now is From Average to Savage. And the 7 lessons I learned from my mom. Obviously there were thousands, of course, but today's a special day. So I'm going to go take a dance class tonight. Wish me luck. I'm terrified, just in my mom's memory. But it's a um, it's one of those things when I'm reminded of when the third party that we used when I introduced her to network marketing. I tried to recruit my mom, and my mom was not interested. My mom got interested after I introduced her to someone else, and then that person invited her to an event. She came to a convention, and then she decided to work with me, right? When I was introducing her to Secret, I didn't introduce her to Secret. I called her and I was like, listen, I need you to meet the Ben Shabbat family. I didn't pitch her Secret. I was like, I need you to come meet these people. I want you to see if they're the right people. And all of these things that she really, kind of taught me. But my mom was one of the people that had no ego about anything. And she was so curious and interested in other people. And she was so good at getting herself out of the way and making it about them, not about her. Right. So, and she was so good not at edifying others, edifying the people. So I want to leave you with one last gift here is this, is one of the best gifts that you can give is not just edifying the expert, but edifying the person that you're with, letting them know how much you believe in them. So if you're talking to your prospect and they're a little weary and say, listen, I believe you can do this. I believe that, that this is that you can do this. Look, I know it's yeah, will it be tough? Yeah, will there be things to learn? Yeah, but I believe in you. The last time a lot of people had somebody tell them, I believe in you and I'm going to be here to support you and we'll do this together and I got your back. That just doesn't happen a lot. So be a support structure for them and letting them know that, hey, listen, you can edify them, but the same way you can edify an expert is the same way that you can edify a person. And a lot of people, instead, when they look in the mirror, they're not saying positive things about themselves. They're spending a lot of the time just, beating themselves up. So be a light in somebody's world. So even if they can't see it, and let them know that, that doesn't matter what darkness they came from, what trauma they came from, that they can go out there and create a future that they love. And it, yes, might sound unreasonable, but that's what I am. I am a person who stands in the face of reason and says, I'm going to create the life I want anyway, regardless of what other people say is possible. I am going to live an unreasonable lifestyle. And that's what I'm doing here in Viago. And I want you to join me in this. So let's go. Right? Hence our slogan, right? So this is not let's think, let's contemplate, let's meander, let's talk to a friend. It's let's go. So sometimes people need a little push from you, and the push they need from you is not your belief in this, your belief in them. So go out there and pour into people, and I promise you, you will attract some of the best people in the world. So let's go kick some butt. We'll see you guys next week. Let's close out the month strong, and we'll see you guys on my birthday. Viago out. Throw up those deuces.